Passive Income Engine. Let Your Money Work While You Sleep. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Most people don't plan to trade their time for money forever. They just never find the off-ramp. It starts innocently enough, a steady job, a consistent paycheck, the comfort of routine. But year after year, that routine becomes a treadmill. Faster pace. Same view. No matter how hard you run, your income only flows when you show up. Your freedom remains postponed, your energy mortgaged to the next workweek. And deep down, a question lingers: isn't there a better way? There is. Passive income isn't a myth or a loophole. It's a model, one you can build, refine, and rely on. It's not about doing nothing. It's about designing something, a system, an engine, a structure that generates income with less of you in the equation. An engine that, once built, keeps running, even while you rest. Financial independence isn't about millions in the bank. It's about options. It's about owning your time, not renting it. And as Zig Ziglar once said, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. Passive income gives you more oxygen, more breathing room, more possibility, more life. This book won't sell you shortcuts. It will show you systems. It will give you tools, not hype. You'll learn to build something sturdy, steady, and scalable. Not overnight. But for life. If you're ready to step off the treadmill and start building an engine of your own, turn the page. It's time to let your money work while you sleep. Chapter 1. The Myth of Overnight Wealth. The thumbnail flashes across the screen, bold text over a rented Lamborghini. How I made $25,000 in 30 days while sleeping. The voiceover promises freedom, fast. The comment section pulses with envy, skepticism, and desperation. It's the new American fantasy, not a white picket fence, but a passive income windfall with zero effort. And it's costing people more than it's giving. The myth of overnight wealth is seductive because it preys on real frustration. People are tired. Tired of commutes, of rent hikes, of watching bank accounts refill and drain in the same breath. The dream of money arriving while you rest your head isn't foolish, it's human. But chasing shortcuts rarely leads to stability. Real passive income doesn't explode into your life. It builds, piece by deliberate piece, like an engine you assemble yourself. Behind every overnight success lies a silent runway, months or years of quiet labor, tinkering, failing, recalibrating. The blog post that suddenly earns $500 a month was written 3 years ago. The course that sells while someone's on vacation was recorded after 20 failed drafts. The rental property that cash flows reliably was first inspected, renovated, and wrestled with. What looks like magic is almost always momentum catching up with discipline. The danger isn't just financial, it's psychological. Believing in overnight wealth sets you up for bitterness when it doesn't come. You launch a digital product and it flops. You buy a stock and it flatlines. You publish a video and get 12 views. And instead of recalibrating, you abandon the process. You think it didn't work. But in truth, it didn't have time to work. You planted seeds and expected a harvest by morning. Passive income is real. It's powerful. But it is earned, not through trading hours, but through building systems. You're not buying a lottery ticket. You're crafting an engine. One with components, timing, friction points, and feedback loops. You start with raw materials, your knowledge, your capital, and your skills. Then you bolt together a model, test it, lubricate it, and optimize it. At first it sputters. But eventually, if built right, it hums. Think of a flywheel. It's heavy, slow to start, and almost frustrating. But once in motion, its own weight keeps it spinning with less and less effort. Passive income is a financial flywheel. You push hard at the start, learning, investing, and risking, but eventually inertia takes over. Income begins to arrive while you sleep, not because the system is magical, but because the design is sustainable. The lie of overnight wealth steals the most precious ingredient of all, patience. It tells you that if it's not working now, it never will. But that's not how wealth works. Compound interest takes time. Market trust takes time. Content distribution takes time. And that time is your ally, not your enemy. If you can reject the myth and embrace the method, you step onto a different path. A slower one, yes, but also a quieter one, more honest and ultimately more rewarding. The kind of wealth that lets you breathe, not brag. The kind that frees you, not frenzies you. This book won't offer hacks or hype. It will walk you through the blueprint. Not theory, not fantasy, but a buildable model, a passive income engine. You'll learn how to start small, scale smart, and build something that works while you rest. Not immediately, but inevitably. You ready? Let's gather your tools. Passive income is built, not stumbled upon. Overnight success is usually years in the making. Reject hype. Embrace the blueprint. Where have you believed in instant results, and what did it cost you? Unsubscribe from one. Get rich quick. Source today, clear mental space for building something real. Chapter 2, From Time for Money to Money in Motion. Picture a cyclist pedaling furiously on a single speed bike, muscles burning with every revolution. No gears, no coasting. Every inch forward is earned with sweat. That's the model most people are taught to live by: trade time for money, hour by hour, dollar by dollar. It's linear, exhausting, and fragile. One illness, one job cut, one lost client, and the bike stops moving. But what if you added gears? What if you designed a system where every push went farther, where momentum did some of the work for you? This is the essence of passive income, transforming effort from direct exchange into ongoing motion. It's not about never working. It's about working differently. Smarter. With leverage. Leverage is the great multiplier of wealth. It's what separates the perpetually busy from the quietly prosperous. When you trade time for money, you're capped. There are only 24 hours in a day. But when you build something that can generate income without your constant involvement, an online course, a dividend-paying stock portfolio, a rental property, you uncouple effort from outcome. You plant a seed once, but harvest fruit for years. The problem isn't hard work. The problem is depending solely on hard work. People proudly wear burnout like a badge of honor, believing hustle equals progress. But hustle is a hamster wheel without leverage. True freedom begins when your money keeps moving even while you pause. This isn't theory. It's physics, economic motion sustained by systems. Think of money in motion as building conveyor belts that keep turning long after you've left the factory floor. A YouTube video that earns ad revenue long after you hit upload. A book that sells while you're sleeping. A SaaS product that collects monthly payments whether you're online or off. These aren't pipe dreams. They're mechanisms of leverage, tools that replace constant effort with consistent structure. Still, many resist the shift. The comfort of predictability, clock in, clock out, get paid, is hard to abandon, even if it comes with limits. There's honor in showing up, but danger in never graduating from the grind. Passive income doesn't mean abandoning work. It means architecting work so that it scales without your presence. Even side hustles can fall into the time for money trap. Freelancing, driving rideshare, tutoring, all require your physical presence. Valuable, yes, but still linear. They build income, not infrastructure. The goal is to move from tasks to tools, from gigs to gears. This transition isn't instant. It requires vision, planning, and patience. But it starts with a shift in identity. Stop thinking like a laborer. Start thinking like an engineer. The laborer asks, "What can I do to earn money today?" The engineer asks, "What can I build that earns money tomorrow?" That's the shift from transactional thinking to transformational design. Once you see this clearly, the world changes. You begin spotting gears where others see pedals. You evaluate opportunities not by the hours they require, but by the systems they allow you to create. The shift is mental first, mechanical second. Passive income isn't about escaping effort. It's about ensuring that your effort survives beyond the hour it's given. It's about putting your energy into building machines, digital, financial, or structural, that spin without constant supervision. When done right, they not only make money, they buy back your time. This is the engine you're here to build. And the journey begins with one question: are you willing to stop pedaling long enough to design something that moves on its own? Because once you do, everything changes. Trading time for money is limited, leverage is scalable. Passive income systems allow money to move even when you don't. Think like an engineer, not just a worker. What area of your life feels like constant pedaling, and how might you introduce gears? Identify one skill or resource you currently have that could be turned into a repeatable system instead of a repeated task. Chapter 3: 5 Engines of Wealth Creation. Imagine walking into a garage. Laid out before you are the parts of a powerful machine: steel frames, pistons, fuel lines, timing belts. Alone, they're inert. Together, assembled in the right order, they become an engine, one that generates motion, momentum, and results. That's what passive income truly is, not a single part, but a system. A living mechanism that runs with minimal input, creating ongoing returns. To build your passive income engine, you need 5 essential components. Leave one out, and the machine sputters. Master them all, and the engine hums. The first is fuel capital. No machine runs on empty. In this context, capital doesn't have to mean thousands in savings. It could be $100 into a dividend stock or $500 to launch a digital product. Fuel capital is anything you invest to ignite movement. Without fuel, even the best designed system is just theory. Fuel is commitment in numerical form, your first act of belief. Next comes design strategy. This is where most engines fail before they even start. Too many people chase trends, stacking mismatched parts hoping they'll click into place. Real estate, dropshipping, crypto, YouTube, courses, none of these are wrong, but scattered focus creates a Frankenstein engine, unstable and unsustainable. Design strategy is about choosing one proven model and aligning it with your resources, personality, and time frame. When you lock into a strategy, you stop dabbling and start building. Third is automation systems. This is where the magic begins. Automation is the wiring that lets your engine run while you're not around. Think of auto-investing platforms, scheduled content publishing, digital delivery systems, or property managers. These tools reduce friction, which is the enemy of sustainability. A side hustle still demands your time. A system, once built, buys it back. Automation ensures your engine doesn't stall every time life gets busy. But no engine is truly set and forget. That's where maintenance monitoring comes in. Engines need tuning, oil changes, inspections. Passive income systems are no different. You must track performance, reinvest returns, update platforms, or phase out underperforming assets. Neglect leads to decay. But light, regular maintenance keeps the machine efficient without consuming your time. It's the difference between a tool that works for you and one that quietly breaks down behind your back. The final and most overlooked piece is momentum compounding. This is where patience pays off. Most engines start slow. The early days are marked by quiet output and doubt. But with consistency, returns multiply. A blog post written today may bring traffic for years. A smart stock move today may double in a decade. Momentum doesn't look impressive at first, but eventually it becomes unstoppable. This is the flywheel effect, and it rewards the builder who endures. These 5 parts: fuel capital, design strategy, automation systems, maintenance monitoring, and momentum compounding, don't operate in isolation. They're interdependent. Remove one, and friction returns. Neglect two, and the engine loses power. But build with care, and what starts as a side project becomes a self-sustaining system. The mistake many make is trying to shortcut this process. They chase income streams like slot machines instead of constructing engines like engineers. But wealth, real wealth, isn't one. It's designed. With the right components, aligned correctly, you create more than cash flow. You create confidence, time freedom, optionality. An engine that works even when you don't. That's the blueprint this book will now walk you through, one component at a time. Because once you understand the machinery, building becomes inevitable. And once it's built, it doesn't stop. Passive income is a system, not a tactic. The 5 core components must work together. Wealth is engineered, not guessed. Which of the 5 components do you already have in motion, and which needs building? Write down the 5 parts of the passive income engine and rate yourself 1 to 5 in each. This is your starting blueprint. Chapter 4: Fuel Capital, starting with what you have. Every engine needs fuel. Without it, even the most elegant design sits idle. Passive income is no different. Fuel capital is your starting energy, the money you use to kickstart the system. But here's the twist: it doesn't need to be much. The myth is that you need tens of thousands sitting in a savings account to even begin. The truth is, most engines start with scraps, small, consistent inputs that grow over time. It's not about how much you start with. It's about whether you start at all. Consider a car with an empty tank. You could argue about what fuel type is best. You could polish the exterior. But until there's something in the tank, it's not going anywhere. The same applies to your passive income engine. Whether you're investing in index funds, creating a digital product, or purchasing a small rental property, you need initial capital. This capital is more than money, it's belief. It signals to yourself that you're done waiting and ready to build. But where does that capital come from? Most people don't have piles of extra cash lying around. Yet almost everyone can find something. It might be unspent tax returns, canceled subscriptions, unused gadgets sold online, or even reallocating weekly expenses. A $100 dividend stock, a $300 mic for recording your first digital course, a $500 website setup, these are not distant dreams. They are accessible acts of commitment. The key is to stop seeing capital as a barrier and start seeing it as a lever. Even a little bit can create outsized results when used wisely. A $250 investment in a self-published ebook that earns $50 a month seems modest, until it earns for 5 years straight. That's a 1,200% return. The world teaches us to judge investments by their price tag. Builders judge them by potential motion. Fuel capital also teaches discipline. Saving for your engine means deferring instant gratification for future freedom. It's a form of mental training. You begin to see every dollar not as consumption, but as construction. When you decide that $100 today could buy you a piece of tomorrow's independence, your spending habits shift. You begin to think like an investor, not just a consumer. Importantly, fuel capital doesn't always have to be your own. In some models, leverage becomes a tool. Real estate investors often use borrowed funds to buy appreciating assets. Crowdfunding platforms allow creators to pre-sell ideas before they even build them. Strategic partnerships let one person bring the idea while another brings the capital. But even in these cases, the foundation is trust, and trust is built when you show that you've already put skin in the game. There's power in starting with your own resources, however small. It forces clarity. When the money is yours, you think more carefully. You measure risk. You pay attention. You learn. And that learning becomes part of the engine, too. Knowledge gained through experience compounds like money in a high-interest account. Don't wait for the perfect number to appear in your bank account. That delay is a disguised form of fear. The best builders begin with less than ideal conditions and make them work. A garage, $100, a few hours a week, that's more than enough to begin assembling something real. Fuel is the first requirement not because it's the most important, but because it's the spark. It turns intention into motion. Once there's fuel in the tank, the engine isn't just an idea. It's a machine in the making. And all machines start with that first drop of commitment. Fuel capital is essential, but doesn't have to be massive. Starting with what you have builds discipline and momentum. Even small investments can yield long-term returns. What is one expense you could redirect this month into your passive income engine? Set aside your first $100, however you can, to seed your future system. Label it fuel. Chapter 5: Design Strategy. Pick one, master one. A mechanic doesn't toss random parts into a box and hope an engine emerges. They follow a blueprint. Every gear, bolt, and wire has a purpose. That's what design strategy is in the world of passive income: selecting the right model, aligning it with your resources, and committing long enough to see it work. The opposite of design is chaos. And chaos is the enemy of progress. Most people fail not because they lack ambition, but because they chase too many ideas at once. They start a YouTube channel on Monday, buy crypto on Wednesday, and build a Shopify store by Friday. Every idea sounds promising, but none receive the focused execution they need to bear fruit. Passive income is simple, but not easy. It rewards the patient craftsman, not the impatient sampler. The temptation to try everything comes from fear of missing out, fear of choosing wrong, fear of failure. But fear disguised as strategy will only exhaust you. Progress begins when you choose one lane and stay in it. Focus doesn't eliminate uncertainty, it eliminates distraction. Every passive income model has potential, but none work if you quit too early. Picking one means giving it the time, study, and energy required to turn it from concept to cash flow. So how do you choose? Start by examining 3 factors: your capital, your time, and your temperament. Capital dictates how quickly you can enter certain spaces. Real estate might require $10,000 upfront, while a digital product could be launched with $200. Time matters too. If you're working full-time, models with heavy setup and automation might suit you better than those demanding constant creation. But temperament is the secret key. Some people thrive in analytical models like dividend investing. Others need creative expression through content or product development. Design strategy is about alignment. When your chosen model fits who you are and what you have, friction decreases. You stop second-guessing. You stop comparing. You build. That's when things start working. Consider 3 common models: content creation, asset investing, and product development. Content creation, blogs, podcasts, videos, can be slow to monetize but scale beautifully over time. Asset investing, stocks, REITs, crypto, requires capital but can become almost fully passive. Product development, courses, templates, SaaS, requires upfront work but can generate years of revenue from one build. All are valid. What matters is which one fits you. One focused strategy beats 10 scattered experiments every time. The proof is everywhere. A teacher launches one online course and earns income for years. An investor commits to index funds and builds wealth with quiet consistency. A landlord buys one duplex and creates generational income. In each case, mastery, not multitasking, was the multiplier. Design is not a one-time decision. It's a commitment to build deeply rather than broadly. When challenges come, and they will, you'll be tempted to jump ship. Don't. Redesigning mid-flight leads to crashes. Instead, refine within your model. Adjust your tactics, not your trajectory. Let success come from compounding, not switching. Eventually, mastery unlocks momentum. Systems improve. Results increase. What felt like effort becomes rhythm. But none of that happens without the initial discipline to pick one engine and build it with everything you've got. The world rewards clarity. When you're clear on your model, your learning sharpens, your network aligns, and your actions become intentional. That's when building starts to feel like progress, not just motion. So stop window shopping opportunities. Step inside one. And start assembling. Passive income demands focused design, not scattered effort. Choose your model based on capital, time, and temperament. Mastery, not multitasking, unlocks real momentum. What's one passive income model that genuinely fits your strengths and lifestyle? Write down your chosen model, and commit to sticking with it for 90 days without switching. Chapter 6: Automation Systems. Set it, don't sweat it. Imagine building a beautiful engine, only to have to crank it by hand every time you need it to run. That's what passive income feels like without automation, labor disguised as leverage. At first, manual effort is inevitable. But eventually, automation becomes the heartbeat of the system, allowing it to run without your constant touch. Without it, you don't have passive income. You just have another job in disguise. Automation isn't just convenience, it's capacity. It frees your mind from repetitive tasks, letting you focus on strategic growth. It removes friction, and friction is where most builders burn out. A blog that needs to be manually shared, a course that requires personal email delivery, or a rental property without a property manager, these are slow leaks in what should be a sealed machine. Over time, they drain your energy and your momentum. The beauty of today's tools is that automation is accessible to anyone. You don't need a technical background. You need a willingness to think in systems. A podcaster can pre-schedule episodes for release while they're on vacation. An investor can set auto transfers into index funds every month. A digital store can process payments and deliver products with no human interaction. These are not luxuries. They are the levers that make income scalable and sustainable. Still, automation doesn't happen by accident. It must be designed. Start by identifying the parts of your process that repeat. Then ask, how can I remove myself from this step? Can it be delegated to software? Can it be scheduled in advance? Can it be outsourced once and left alone? The goal is not to do less work. The goal is to do the work once, and have it work many times over. It's important to distinguish automation from abandonment. Automation still needs oversight, just not constant attention. Think of it like cruise control. It won't steer the car for you, but it keeps you from burning out your ankle on the gas pedal. Systems can run, but they still need to be reviewed. Reports need to be checked. Metrics need to be monitored. But the heavy lifting? That gets handled for you. Ironically, building automation requires more thought up front than doing things manually. It feels slower in the beginning. But that delay is a trade-off for permanence. Setting up a content scheduler or investing in a fulfillment tool takes time. But it pays for itself every hour you're not repeating the same steps next week. Automation is compound time. You invest effort now to multiply your freedom later. One of the most powerful effects of automation is psychological. When you see income arrive while you're resting, traveling, or focusing elsewhere, your mind starts to shift. You realize your presence is no longer required for every dollar earned. That's not just practical, it's transformational. It creates margin. It reduces stress. It reminds you why you started building in the first place. In this age, the builder who embraces automation outpaces the one who insists on control. Systems scale. Hustle doesn't. The more time you spend inside your system, the more time your system steals from you. But when your system works without you, it gives you time back. That's the pivot from grind to glide. So if your engine is built but requires your hands on every switch, it's time to start plugging in automation. Not later, now. Every hour you free today is an hour you own tomorrow. Set it up once. Then watch it move. Automation turns a side hustle into true passive income. The goal is to build systems that run without you. Time invested in automation pays back exponentially. What part of your income process could you automate today with a simple tool or service? Choose one recurring task and set up an automation tool to handle it this week. Chapter 7: Maintenance Monitoring. Don't set and forget. Engines, no matter how well built, don't maintain themselves. Leave one untouched long enough, and even the most powerful machine will sputter, stall, or seize. Passive income works the same way. The systems may be automated, but that doesn't mean they're invincible. What's passive in execution must remain active in oversight. Without maintenance, what once worked begins to drift toward irrelevance. Too many builders fall into the trap of set it and forget it. They build a rental property portfolio but stop checking on tenant turnover. They launch a digital product and never update the platform. They invest in a stock and ignore the market shifts that erode its value. Passive doesn't mean absent. It means efficient. And efficiency still requires attention. Monitoring doesn't have to be exhausting. In fact, the better your systems, the less time maintenance takes. But regular check-ins are essential. Think of it as preventative care. A 5-minute check each week can prevent a 5-month mess. Simple dashboards, alerts, or performance reviews can give you insight before a small issue becomes a financial leak. The best investors, creators, and entrepreneurs all have one thing in common: they review their systems even when nothing seems wrong. Reinvestment is part of maintenance. Income from your passive streams isn't just for spending, it's fuel to grow stronger systems. When you reinvest, whether into improved content, property upgrades, or expanded portfolios, you're compounding the strength of your engine. Maintenance isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about optimizing what works. There's also the reality of platform evolution. What worked on one platform a year ago may not perform today. Algorithms shift. Audiences evolve. Economic climates change. The creator who notices a drop in engagement early can pivot content. The landlord who watches rental demand trends can adjust pricing. The investor who tracks portfolio health can reallocate before losses compound. Monitoring turns reactive chaos into proactive control. A neglected income stream becomes a liability. It eats up time in repairs or loses value altogether. But a maintained system becomes an asset that appreciates. It builds trust with customers, reliability in returns, and freedom from emergencies. You don't just maintain for financial reasons, you maintain to preserve peace of mind. That peace comes from rhythm. A consistent schedule removes emotional guesswork. Monthly portfolio reviews. Quarterly product audits. Annual tax efficiency checks. These aren't burdens, they're power tools. Just as you wouldn't ignore the warning lights on a car dashboard, you shouldn't ignore performance indicators in your income engine. Data is feedback, and feedback fuels improvement. Maintenance also protects you from complacency. It reminds you that passive income is not about quitting, but about building a smarter version of work. The builder who assumes their engine is flawless will be blindsided when rust sets in. But the builder who inspects with humility catches problems before they grow. This isn't about paranoia. It's about stewardship. What you've built matters. It has value. It supports your life. And things of value deserve care. A well-maintained engine outlasts trends. It continues to perform, quietly and reliably, year after year. That's the goal, not flash, but durability. So take pride in your maintenance. It means you've moved beyond hope and into responsibility. You're not just dreaming of passive income. You're operating it like a real system. That shift turns hobbyists into architects. And architects build to last. Passive income systems require light but consistent oversight. Maintenance prevents decay, optimizes results, and sustains momentum. Regular reviews and reinvestments ensure long-term durability. What passive income system in your life could benefit from a quick checkup this week? Schedule a 30-minute review session this week to assess performance, fix friction, or reinvest in one of your income streams. Chapter 8: Momentum Compounding. Time is the multiplier. Stand at the edge of a hill and place a small snowball at your feet. Give it a gentle push. At first, nothing much happens. It rolls slowly, wobbling, barely growing. But let it keep going. It picks up speed, then size. The farther it rolls, the more force it gathers. Before long, what started as a fragile ball becomes a mass too heavy to stop. That's what momentum looks like, and in the world of passive income, momentum isn't just a benefit. It's the multiplier that turns small beginnings into lasting wealth. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. That's not just a motivational quote, it's a reflection of how humans misjudge compounding. We want instant validation. If a video doesn't go viral, we stop posting. If a product launch falls flat, we never improve it. If our first $100 investment returns $2, we scoff at the slowness. But compound momentum doesn't work on visible progress alone. It rewards those who stick with invisible gains long enough for them to become exponential. The math supports this. If you improve something by just 1% a day for a year, it doesn't grow by 365%. It grows by over 3,700%. That's compounding. It's why investors like Warren Buffett didn't get rich from sharp spikes, but from consistent, steady gains that exploded over time. His fortune wasn't built in a year. It was built because he didn't stop for decades. Passive income systems behave the same way. A blog post you write today may earn nothing this month. But next year, it's picked up by search engines. It gets shared. It starts ranking. A stock you buy now may not move much in the short term. But left untouched, with dividends reinvested, it can double or triple over years. A course you create might sell 5 times this quarter, 500 times next year. The magic isn't in the spark, it's in the steady burn. Momentum isn't just about results. It's also about rhythm. The more consistent your input, the less resistance you feel. Habits form. Systems sharpen. What once felt hard becomes second nature. The weekly video, the monthly property check-in, the quarterly financial review, each adds a drop to the bucket. And eventually, the bucket overflows. But here's the catch: momentum doesn't look impressive in the beginning. It's quiet. It feels slow. That's where most people quit. They're digging a well and stop 3 feet from water. They never give the system time to pay them back. Compounding isn't exciting early on. It's frustrating. But patience is the price of participation. Only those who stay long enough get to see the explosion. This is why the engine metaphor matters. You build the machine, fuel it, automate it, and maintain it. But the real payoff doesn't come from one great push. It comes from continued motion. Over time, the engine runs more smoothly, more powerfully, and more independently. Each rotation makes the next one easier. Each dollar earned lays the track for the next. Time isn't your enemy. It's your strongest partner. When paired with consistency, it becomes a force that works even while you rest. This is what separates hobbyists from builders. Builders don't chase spikes, they trust momentum. They know that time invested in the right system multiplies far beyond what's visible in the early days. So keep pushing the snowball. Keep turning the flywheel. Every small act compounds. Every quiet effort builds inertia. And before long, what once felt small becomes something that cannot be stopped. Momentum is invisible at first, but exponential over time. Compounding rewards consistency far more than intensity. Time becomes an ally when paired with systems and patience. Where have you stopped too soon, and what would happen if you simply stayed with it longer? Commit to showing up for one passive income task consistently for the next 30 days. Track the motion, not just the result. Chapter 9: Stacking Streams. Diversify without chaos. Picture a small creek flowing steadily through a quiet forest. On its own, it quenches the roots of a few trees. Now imagine 5 more streams feeding into it, each one adding volume, speed, and power. What was once a trickle becomes a river. That's what happens when passive income streams are stacked with intention. Not all at once. Not randomly. But strategically, one after the other, until the system multiplies itself. Most people misunderstand diversification. They think it means doing everything all the time. But scattering attention across a dozen ideas doesn't create freedom, it creates friction. The builder who chases too many streams at once finds each one too shallow to matter. The real art lies in sequencing. You start with one stream. You stabilize it. Then you stack. The first income stream is the most difficult. It's where you build the skills, set up the tools, and fight through early friction. But once it's in motion, once it's earning even modestly, you've earned the right to consider what comes next. You're not abandoning what you built. You're multiplying it. Some of the best second streams aren't new ideas at all. They're extensions of the first. A blog becomes a book. A course becomes a consulting offer. A rental property becomes a short-term stay option. When one system is running, you already have the knowledge, audience, or capital to build another from the same foundation. This is stacking with structure. It's not starting over. It's starting from higher ground. Stacking also protects you. If one stream slows, another can carry the load. A YouTube algorithm change might hurt at revenue, but your email course still sells. A tenant vacancy hits cash flow, but your dividend portfolio keeps paying. This is how real freedom is built, not from one massive source, but from several reliable ones working in harmony. But you must resist the urge to jump too soon. If your first stream isn't stable, stacking another just adds weight. Diversification without stability creates distraction, not resilience. You want each stream to have its own automation, its own maintenance rhythm, and its own momentum before moving on. Otherwise, you're just building more engines to fix. The goal is sustainability, not speed. Think in quarters, not weeks. Give each stream time to grow roots before you plant another. Most builders overestimate what they can manage simultaneously. The smart ones stagger the build. Focus, finish, then expand. That's how empires are built, not in bursts, but in layers. The beauty of stacking is that each stream sharpens you. You become more efficient, more strategic, more patient. You start spotting synergy, where one asset feeds another. A podcast promotes your digital product. Your digital product funds your real estate. Your real estate returns fuel your investments. Each system strengthens the others until your entire financial ecosystem is self-supporting. Eventually, your time shifts from building to monitoring. Your income becomes less volatile, your decisions more deliberate. That's when stacking stops feeling like work and starts feeling like architecture. You're not juggling. You're designing. Every stream you add now is just another tributary feeding the river that sustains your life. Diversify, yes. But do it like an engineer, not a gambler. Stack your streams slowly, deliberately, and only when the last one can stand without you. That's not chaos. That's compound structure. Diversification is powerful when built sequentially, not simultaneously. Each new stream should grow from a foundation of stability. Stack systems with structure, not scatter them with stress. Is your first income stream stable enough to support stacking, or does it still need strengthening? List one potential second income stream that naturally extends from your first, and map one step to begin exploring it. Chapter 10: Passive Income Pitfalls. What destroys engines? Even the most powerful engine can fail if built on shaky ground or driven recklessly. Passive income systems are no different. They promise ease and sustainability, but without wisdom and vigilance, they can stall, crash, or even collapse entirely. Understanding the common pitfalls isn't about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. A well-built engine doesn't just run. It anticipates where failure might happen and designs around it. One of the most seductive pitfalls is overleverage. The promise of fast returns can tempt you to borrow beyond your means. Real estate deals with no safety margin, margin trading in volatile markets, or investing borrowed funds into speculative assets. These approaches can amplify wins, but they also magnify losses. Builders who survive long-term don't gamble on velocity. They prioritize stability. Debt can be a tool, but only in the hands of a steady strategist, not an impatient dreamer. Another common danger is distraction. The builder gets one system running, then leaps to 5 more without anchoring the first. The result is a graveyard of half-built ideas, each bleeding time and attention. This is the curse of shiny object syndrome. The allure of newness overrides the discipline of follow-through. But income streams don't reward novelty, they reward maturity. Diversification is powerful only when each system is given the care it needs to endure. Then there's platform dependency. Builders often place all their trust in one system, one audience, or one algorithm. A YouTuber loses ad revenue after a policy change. A course creator watches sales plummet after a platform tweak. A real estate investor gets squeezed by regulation or tax reform. These aren't rare flukes, they're real risks. Relying on a single gatekeeper puts your engine at the mercy of forces you can't control. The solution isn't paranoia, it's diversification with foresight. Always ask, what happens if this stops working tomorrow? Complacency is another silent killer. The builder hits a milestone and assumes the system will run forever. But markets shift. Audiences evolve. Trends fade. What worked a year ago might flatline today. Without monitoring and adaptation, yesterday's success becomes today's blind spot. The best builders remain curious. They track, they tweak, they ask hard questions. Not because they're insecure, but because they respect the system enough to keep it sharp. Emotional pitfalls can be just as damaging. Greed leads to reckless bets. Envy drives decisions based on comparison, not strategy. Impatience cuts off momentum before it compounds. And fear of missing out, fear of failure, fear of imperfection, can paralyze builders or push them into the wrong projects altogether. Passive income is not just a financial system. It's a mental game. You're building more than cash flow. You're building emotional resilience. Perhaps the most dangerous pitfall is quitting too soon. Many builders get within inches of breakthrough and walk away. A blog that's starting to rank, a product with its first batch of happy customers, a portfolio on the verge of compounding, they abandon it because the early returns weren't loud enough. But most engines don't roar when they start. They whisper. The payoff doesn't always come in the first quarter. But it does come, if you stay the course. Success in passive income isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. You will face obstacles. That's not a sign you've failed. It's a sign you're building something real. The goal isn't to eliminate every risk, it's to recognize them early and respond with wisdom, not emotion. Protect your engine. Not just from the outside, but from the mindsets that can corrode it from within. What you're building is too valuable to sabotage. Stay alert. Stay grounded. And keep it running. Overleverage, distraction, and platform dependency can all derail your engine. Emotional pitfalls are just as dangerous as financial ones. Long-term success requires vigilance, not perfection. Which of these pitfalls are quietly present in your system right now, and what step could you take to address them? Pick one vulnerability in your current income stream and create a plan this week to safeguard or strengthen it. Chapter 11: Lifestyle Design. Let the engine serve you. It starts with a simple goal: earn income without trading time. But at some point, if you build well, the system starts to work. The income arrives whether you're working or not. The engine runs. And then the question changes. It's no longer how do I earn? It becomes, how do I live? Passive income isn't just about money. It's about designing a life that money can support, not control. Many builders forget this. They become so focused on the mechanics, funnels, funds, properties, platforms, that they never stop to ask what it's all for. Freedom becomes another performance metric instead of a lived experience. But the point of building an engine is not to obsess over the machine. It's to be released from the need to crank it every day. A system that runs on its own should give you something more precious than income. It should give you options. This is where lifestyle design enters. It's the intentional practice of using your income engine to shape your days, not just your bank account. It means reclaiming time, focusing on values, and aligning your work with your purpose. Without this shift, even passive income can become another trap. The calendar fills with new commitments, the inbox swells with opportunity, and the machine demands upgrades that were never part of the plan. You don't escape the grind. You just reinvent it with better packaging. But freedom isn't found in doing nothing. It's found in doing only what matters. That might mean spending more time with family, pursuing creative work without financial pressure, traveling slowly instead of rushing through vacations, or simply having space in your schedule to think. The richest form of passive income is measured in attention, not just assets. What are you now free to notice, explore, or enjoy because your survival no longer depends on the next paycheck? Lifestyle design starts with clarity. What kind of life do you want your income to support? What do you want more of: time, peace, impact, flexibility? And just as importantly, what do you want less of: stress, clutter, noise, performance? Designing your lifestyle is not about indulgence. It's about intentional trade-offs. Choosing simplicity over chaos. Depth over distraction. Money amplifies what already exists. If you're overwhelmed and scattered, more money will usually magnify the chaos. But if you've built a system on purpose and stewardship, the income becomes a tool for expansion. You gain margin. You protect your time. You shift from survival mode to creation mode. The engine becomes a servant, not a master. There's also the quiet joy of contribution. With margin comes generosity of time, energy, and resources. You can mentor without billing by the hour. You can invest in others without draining your reserves. You can say yes to the things that matter and no without guilt to the things that don't. Passive income isn't just about retiring early. It's about living deliberately. But that requires design. Left on autopilot, Life fills with urgency. One opportunity leads to another, and the engine that once promised peace begins to power another kind of busyness. So you must stop. Assess. Redefine. Not once, but regularly. Ask whether the life you're living reflects the freedom you set out to build. The true test of a successful income engine isn't how much it earns. It's how much it enables. What it makes possible. What it protects. What it invites. The machine is a means, never the end. You built it. Now let it serve you. Passive income is meant to fund freedom, not more busyness. Lifestyle design turns financial margin into meaningful living. The engine is a tool to live with purpose, not perform for productivity. If your income needs were covered, what would your ideal day look like, and how close are you to living it now? Write down one lifestyle change you could make this month, small or large, that reflects the freedom you're building. Take care and be well.